So for step 15, attaching the rear dampers, well, we have this B13 piece and we've got some ball connectors that need to go on. And of course, we're going to use our box wrench here. That's then going to go onto the back here at the top, and we're going to put those on with the 4 screws. Then we move down here and we're going to pop those, the tops of the shocks onto those ball connectors. And then we have this B7 piece and a step screw that's got to go through to hold this onto the bottom. Note the placement, it'll be the outer hole on that back end. So there are the screws that we need, the ball connectors and our step screws, and of course this piece right here and these 2 B7 pieces along with our shocks. So I'll set this up and we'll put these on to the back end. So the first thing we'll do is we need to get the ball connectors into this piece, and you'll need to note direction. You'll see that in terms of when the screws go in, you've got these open holes for the heads of the screws themselves. If you turn this around, it's actually a raised area. It's not designed for the screw going in this direction, so it needs to be that. So that means that these ball connectors, which you can see is meant to go on the outside, they need to go into the outside holes. So again, I like to use the box wrench because it helps to guide the screw in. I'm going in pretty level here. So we're going to be able to screw this all the way in. Just check. There we go. Feels pretty good. Now, I'm not going to over tighten because the threads are pretty small, but I am making sure that it's nicely on there, which it is. So we'll turn this around. We'll do the exact same thing. Put that ball connector into the box wrench. Kind of use the box wrench as a bit of a guide. Make sure it's going in pretty level all the way around. So we can screw this all the way down now. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm just doing sort of a final check just to make sure everything's fine. Yep. So there we go. There is our piece with the ball connectors on it. Now, you'll notice that this is going to sit like this, and the screws are going to go, where is it? One there, one there, one there, one there. So basically here and here, here and here. But you'll also notice on the back side, remember the raised area that I was showing you right there? Those are actually going into these holes here, which act, not only will it, like the screws hold it in, but there's actually something helping these parts stay together. So that's interesting. So we'll take this screw, and these are the tapping screws. Now I'm not going all the way. I want to make sure that everything goes in properly before I screw everything down. Put the other one in. Same again on this side. Okay, so they're feeling pretty good. So I'm going to start screwing these in now all the way. And because this is hard plastic, when you get to the end, you're going to know you're at the end. Because you see, Tamiya uses soft plastics too sometimes. And if you screw these in and you keep turning, you'll actually strip out anything that you're turning into the softer plastic. So you have to be careful, but this is the harder plastic. So as soon as I get to the end, you just know. So I'm just doing an extra tightening, make sure Everything is correct. Yeah. Yep. And on this side. Yep. And yep. So there we go. There is our top shock stay in place. So now that that is done, we can move on to the next bit here and get the shocks onto the chassis. So let's grab one of them. And we know that this can just be popped on. I'm going to see if I can do this by actually just popping it on with my fingers. It may not be possible, but we'll see. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And you can. So there we go. There's one, and we now know that this step screw, you've got to take the step screw, put it through the B7 piece. Oh, sorry. Let's put that through the B7 pieces on the back end here. And we know that it's got to go into the first hole. So basically the hole closest to the wheels. Whoa! Right about there. Just gonna make sure I can get the screw started here. There we go. Let's make sure that's going in. Yes. Make sure that goes right to the end. There we go. Yeah. So there is one of our shocks in place. Very good. Feels nice and smooth. So we'll do the same thing with the other side. Let's pop that guy on. And grab our step screw again. Put that through the connector, then the B7 piece, and attach it to that first hole. Make sure that's going correct. Yes. So we'll screw this now in all the way. And there we go. Now these pieces here, they are kind of like the softer plastic. So just make sure that when you're doing this, don't reef on the screwdriver because it could strip something out. Now I'm just doing a bit of a double check just to make sure that these are actually on okay. Yep. So there we go. There is our back end, and the shocks are on and they feel quite good. So that means that step 15 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 16 and attach the rear roll cage. So for step 16, attaching the rear roll cage, you can see that we've got to grab this F10 piece, and there's 2 screws at the top and 2 screws at the bottom, and washers are used at the top as well. So there are the screws that we need and the washers. There is our roll cage. So I'll set this up and we'll put this on. So let's put the top of the roll cage on first. Now one interesting thing is it shows you putting caution sticker E on the motor. But if you remember, they actually put the caution sticker on the motor to begin with. So there's really no need for them to show that. So I'm not sure why they do. But it doesn't matter. Let's move on. So MA3s. So we're using the silver tapping screws here. And we've got washers that we need to go on as well. And if we grab our roll cage, you can see that these 2 parts on the back side of the roll cage fit over top of all of this, and the screws are going to come in from the top here. So let's make sure that this is correct. Come on. No, let's maybe do it this way partly. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Now, I'm not going to go all the way because I want to make sure that everything else is going to work too, but let's get the other one in place. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Okay, let's just leave it that way for now. And you can see that these screws come in from the bottom and they go into the first of these two holes. So it's these ones here on the back end. So that's gonna, if we were to turn this over, you can see it's gonna go in there. And I'll put the other one in on the other side. Now, because the other two screws are in, I'm gonna tighten these right up. And again, because they're tapping screws, you're just gonna know when you're at the end. That feels pretty good. So, because everything's in, we are now going to be able to screw this in all the way. Perfect. So there we go. There is our rear roll cage on the back of this now. So it's starting to look a lot different to the DT-03 for sure. And we're getting that BBX feel. Very cool. So there we go. Step 16 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 29 and work on the steering linkage for the long wheelbase option.